Good at life means getting your finances together so you can focus on the moments that matter most. With over 170 years of expertise, New York Life Insurance Company provides you with benefits you can enjoy while you're, living. So give me, Doug Stewart, your local New York Life agent, a call. I can help you build a solid financial future to help you and your family be good at life. You can reach me at 678-770-8073 or look for me at NewYorkLife.com.
Do you want your next Atlanta event to be memorable? If so, have Drinking Color at your next function. Drinking Color is sophisticated bartending that creates signature cocktails for your special occasion. Wow your family, friends, and business associates next time with Drinking Color. You can contact the owner, Kiki Lewis, at 678-813-7102. That's 678-813-7102. You can also email her at drinkincolor@gmail.com and follow on Instagram at drinkincolor. And tell her you were referred by the Wait a Minute Show. Drinking Color, cocktail catering. Let the cocktail sparkle at your next event.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and this is...
It's the Wait a Minute Show.
On X Squad Radio Network. So, I said before, I'll say it again for the people who might have just jumped in here while we're broadcasting live right now in the ATL. TDSS 5, the Doug Stewart Show 5, his annual event that he has, get together October 18th, 19th, and 20th. So make sure you get there. xsquadaffiliates.com/TDSS5 to register yourself so you can come and have a good time here in the ATL. Do not forget that. xsquadaffiliates.com/TDSS5. So, I'm going to jump in the chat room for a second because people still are talking. Rough Buff, a.k.a. Fuquan Shabazz, a.k.a. Bills Mafia, a.k.a. Did Not Win the TV, is in here talking about, come on, son. You know, so he is upset as well about the Fantasy Football League. But Marcus had the nerve to say that he said he'll give me a pass this time. Don't let it happen again next year, about getting into the league. Well, first off, Marcus, if I could actually talk to you and I didn't have to talk to your representatives, maybe I could have invited you into the league. Exactly, Lopan. But no, he, his wealthy self or whatever ain't got time to talk to people, and it's just like you talk to a box when you talk to Marcus. It's just a box, a speaker box. And you hear somebody buzz and they say, yes. And then you think you're talking to him, but you're talking to one of his representatives. So that's what wealthy people do. I don't want to put your business out there like that, but you gave me no choice. That's what wealthy people do. They have their representatives, a.k.a. henchmen, talk to you instead of themselves. They just cash checks, and all that stuff. But hey, you did it to yourself. I don't want to put your business out there, but yeah, he got money. Now, let's get back to what we were going to talk about, and that is this Thursday night football game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. And that will be going on tomorrow. So that's a divisional game between these two. So this is going to be an important game. But look, I'm gonna keep it simple and to the point about this game. Yes, we can talk about Jalen. We can talk about the backup quarterback. I think it's Minshew. We can talk about if Leonard Fournette, can have a big game. There's so many things. Is Marcus Mariota actually going to play a game that that benefits himself, and the team? There are all these things that you can talk about and more with this game. But the biggest thing really that we need to ask and try and come to a conclusion is the Jacksonville Jaguars actually going to not be embarrassed again by Derrick Henry? Because if you remember, last time they played, they ended up on a highlight reel for the season, not just for that week. The season. Derrick Henry took it to the house, 99 yards. And on his way, and I'm sure because the NFL right now is playing that whole, 100 years of football, and then they, showing the moments in football over the last 100 years, they will be playing this. He took it 99 yards on his way to manhandling almost half the team. People did not want any problems with this dude. They did not. The kids say they didn't want that smoke. They didn't want it. And he embarrassed them and made them look really bad, made us question, this team, made us wonder what happened to the team that almost went to the Super Bowl. And that's what is the biggest thing for this game. Is Jacksonville, is their defense really going to show up? Do they remember that, which they should, how they got embarrassed? And guys like Myles Jack, he got, kicked out of the game week 1. I think that's out of his, character, to do that. But keeping your composure. Leonard Fournette, he's, lost his composure at times. He's been not kicked out of a game for fighting. But will that, again, let's get back to, the team. But this backup quarterback, what is this backup quarterback going to do for the Jacksonville Jaguars? And it's not like he's having to go up against Tom Brady. And it is what it is. Marcus Mariota, he's a guy that's probably going to look for Delaney Walker, most of the time. You got pieces in Corey Davis. You got pieces in A.J. Brown that it just doesn't seem like he's actually utilizing to his full potential. So, I think this game is a divisional game. I don't think it's not going to be a barn burner or anything like that. I think it's going to be a slow game. And then in the second half, I think the Tennessee Titans will actually take a little bit of a extra step more than the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Jalen Ramsey is probably going to lose his mind, and then they're probably going to go ahead and get Jalen traded after that game. But I have to see it, because what we saw with the Jacksonville Jaguars 2 years ago, I know 2 years is 2 years ago, but it was so much promise. It was so much of what we were thinking, like this might be some sustained success, over the next 3 to 4 years. And we did not get that. And guys left, guys got cut. They brought in other guys. Guys did not work out, as they thought, it would. And it just seems like they're still trying to figure out, what their identity is. I get it's supposed to be, running the ball in defense, but we don't know. I don't know if they know. I hope they know, but we need to find out. Because folks got to be to work Friday morning. I'm just saying. So if we're going to stay up, man, you got to give us something. And even the Tennessee Titans, you got to give us something. So I'm going to go with the Titans. I think the Titans, will win this game. And Jalen Ramsey will lose his mind once again. Now, this next story is very interesting. And I just think this is the trend. And I think this is the things to come here in the United States when it comes to athletics and education in the education system, student athletes. So in New York, state senator in New York, Kevin Parker, he introduced a bill to the New York State Senate this past Monday. And this would require, now this is a little bit different than the one I talked about in California, so I want to make sure you pay attention, but this would require colleges in the state to pay a share of athletic department revenue to student athletes and permit them to profit from the use of their image. This was in the score by Jonathan Silvetta. The reason I say this is a little bit different because the one that was in California, it was the SB 206 bill. And that was basically saying that student athletes, they could go out and get themselves an endorsement deal or get paid for their likeness, their name, or their image. So by another party, not by the NCAA. And we know the NCAA had a big problem with that. So with this bill, it is definitely going to be a problem for the NCAA. They are not trying to hear this. So this bill, and this Jonathan goes on to say is that, this bill contains a provision that would change, and I'm reading this, off the report, change the current NCAA model. Students will be allowed to seek professional representation, and schools will be required to create an injured athlete fund upon graduation would provide the compensation to those who suffer long-term or career-ending injuries. So they're putting a little, caveat in there is that you can't be one and done and then think you're going to get paid or something like that. You can't be leaving early. If you play football, you're going to have to stay there 4 years, or you're going to have to graduate, to get, whatever money that you think, that they should get with this injured athlete fund. But the other thing, about this, it's more to it. And this is this bill that they're talking about. And this is how it's different from California, is that the schools, is what they're proposing, would set aside 15% of revenue from ticket sales to athletic events and then divide it up among the student athletes at that point. So obviously, big time schools that are, Georgia, Alabama, in basketball, North Carolina, Duke, and so forth. These are, more than likely the schools that they're targeting. Obviously, mid-majors and all that stuff, it won't be as the same. But Parker was telling this, again, Kevin Parker, the senator, he said it's about equity. That's a quote from him. He said, these young people are adding their skill, talent, and labor to these universities. You don't need the shortcuts and the end arounds, because now we're providing some real support for these students, athletes. So it just makes me think, I don't know if this is actually going to work, but more than anything, whether it works, whether it does not work, the big thing and the big picture about this is that things are changing. The trend is changing. And the NCAA is starting to get challenged. So you got California, you got New York, and then you got South Carolina. So we got 3 states that are talking about changing, the landscape for these student athletes. Now, it's going to still have to be something maybe universal. I don't know if you can have, all these different formats out there and it's going to work. But I think, again, the biggest thing is that these governments are starting to challenge the NCAA. And we all know the NCAA is not going to like that. Now, sharing the ticket sales, I don't have a comment, on that. I don't know if that's the answer. I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm not saying that it is either. So I just don't have a definitive answer on that. I will be interested to see how that works, because then if you're talking about divvying it up, at least with California, it's just like, look, you can use your likeness and everything. And some company comes to you and say, hey, I like, athlete A, and I want to use athlete A to do clothing or something like that. With this one, with the 15%, now you got all the students, and then now you're talking about divvying it up, and now you're going to have students just saying, okay, well, if I'm part of the football program, and the football program is the biggest thing at the university, we should get paid more. We should get paid more than a baseball team, or we should get paid more than a basketball team. So, it leads up to other questions as far as like how they're going to get paid. But the biggest thing, on this is that these states are now applying the pressure. We'll see what the NCAA does, but they are applying the pressure, and they are possibly changing the landscape and how student athletics is viewed and how it is handled. So it's very interesting how this may play out. But the students are looking at getting paid, one way or the other is basically how they're looking at this. So speaking of getting paid, and I talked about this, or actually on social media, I put out a pitcher. It was a thermometer, actually. And